Good day, Sir Blasphemy here for Sir Blasphemy's Travels. Hope you guys are doing well out there, and I hope you're having the days you deserve. I am, of course, back at home at the casa. The last time you saw me, I was driving home, checking out the thing, and all that stuff. If you're watching my videos, Luca has come to accompany me over here, so we're gonna make a video, I guess, with him in the picture. All right, but anyway, so I'm back, and I wanted to make a quick video. Again, nothing exciting, guys. Back in the man cave, so to speak, here, and hanging out with Luca and my cat, and just wanted to kind of do a little video where I'm going to start maybe reviewing some of the fairs. He's all over the place. What are you doing, buddy? Get down there. All right, come here. I got to pick a cat up real quick. Come here, pal. Hang on. Taking this. All right, stay over there. And so, sorry about that. So I'm going to start doing videos after I do each fair and kind of review the fair and review the season, you know, and how everything went. And I thought that was kind of a decent idea, and it kind of wraps up some things and gives you guys some information about fairs that sometimes you guys ask me about anyway. So in case you guys didn't know, and if you don't know and you are new to this channel and you've never seen me before, I'm Sir Blasphemy. I'm a vendor at Renaissance fairs here and there across the country, and I've been doing it for quite a few years. And I do videos on that, and I just recently came back from the Sherwood Forest Faire in Austin, Texas, and you can check out some of those videos. I'll make sure to post them up in the top here, so you can maybe revert back and check out those things. But yeah, and so I just recently got back from the Sherwood Forest Faire 2025 in Austin, Texas. A fair I definitely enjoyed and loved doing. Felt very welcome there. It was a good time. So yeah, I'll give you some of the, main feedback that I can give you. I'll give you some positives and some negatives about the fair, which is like that for every fair. I think the fair, as far as business goes, is a very good fair, and it's a fair that is growing even bigger. They had record-breaking numbers this season at that fair, and I was glad to be a part of it. For those of you looking to be a vendor, I do have to tell you this: be a vendor at Sherwood Forest Faire. You're now in a tough spot. It looks like they're keeping everybody that they have so far, those that don't drop out on their own, that is, and then there'll be an open spot. But they're keeping the people that they've got so far that is part of the fair, and they are not going to be accepting any new vendor applications. So I got in there in just the nick of time, which I'm grateful for. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm excited to be a part of it. This year was great. I made almost as much money. I was just a little bit off, but not by much, as I do at the largest Renaissance fair in the country, which is the Texas Renaissance Festival. And it was a very profitable fair. I did very well, had good interactions, good people, and a lot of familiar faces too that I see at other fairs in Texas that make their rounds there. They go to the fairs. So I really had a good experience. I really liked the management there. The people in general, just the manager, like my vendor coordinator is absolutely fantastic. I also, just a lot of the management team there is really nice, very accepting, a very, a very inclusive management team and ownership there. It's really a fun fair to do, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I'm so glad to be a part of it, and I'm going to make sure I'm continue to be a part of it for years to come, because I really enjoyed it. I like the smallness of the fair. The fair is more, it's not tiny, but it's not very big. It's not huge like TRF or Scarborough even, or some other ones that are out there, but it's got a good feel to it. It's just got a good vibe. You can get to everything. You can see everything. You might not catch all the shows in one day. It might take an entire weekend for you to catch all the shows, but because it's just big enough for that. But other than that, it's got a real homely feel. It's really tight and close together. There's familiar vendors that some of you guys might know from other fairs that are there. I mean, it's really good, and I had good neighbors except for one, which I'll tell you about in the negative portion. But it was a very good fun fair. It was profitable. It's got a lot of the acts that you see nationwide, like the washing well winches. You have Thomas Wood, the pyro juggler. You have there's the jousting team that does several fairs. There's a lot of jousting teams that do several fairs, but this one has also been seen in other fairs, and I forget which ones they do, but a well-known jousting team. Geez, what are some of the other performers there that you know from all over? Forgive me, there's a few, but yeah, there's a lot out there that you can choose from. The prices there are very good compared to some other fairs. Water was more respectable. If you wanted a bottle of water, it didn't cost you $5, or $4 or $6 or whatever. It was $3. I think for water it might have been $2. I don't remember. It's something like that, $2 or $3. Drinks were affordable there, whether you're beer or whether you're getting just regular drinks. They're not as bad. Still fair prices, still fair markup, but not very painful at all. You can still go, okay, I can have a few beers that day without taking out a second mortgage. So it's very good on the prices there. Again, familiar vendors that do other fairs. So if you go to that fair, if you go to Sherwood Forest Faire, let's say 2026, and you come out to visit me especially, but you'll see other vendors there that you might know from other fairs too, and you'll see other vending acts that are there. So overall, if I had to rate the fair, in the good, out of a 5, let's say, I would give it 4 stars. And the reason why I would give it like 4 stars is because of some of the things that I'm going to tell you about right here. It's more behind the scenes stuff for like vendors and things like that. So I'm going to get into the second part where you could get some knocks. Again, every fair has knocks, and these are mine in particular. I think that this doesn't really reflect the fair, to be honest. I just kind of wish maybe the fair would, maybe crack down on some of this and maybe go, hey, you know what? This is affecting a lot of people. This is causing conflict. This is causing issues. We need to get in front of these people and stop this from happening. But what I noticed out there is probably over any fair that I've ever done is probably the rudeness of some of the workers and maybe even some of the other vendors when it comes to parking out there. So if you have not been to Sherwood Forest Faire, most fairs, as you know, as you've seen in some of my videos, we have to drive through and we have to go through little lanes and things like that to get to our booths and work during the week. And we have to sometimes do that on fair mornings too, to unload our inventory, get in and out real quick. Well, with this fair, it's a small fair and the lanes are very small and there's trees all over the place. And so we don't want to get rid of the trees. So the lanes go in between and around trees and things like that. But what makes it hard is that other fair workers or vendors will bring their cars in there and they'll block the lanes when there's plenty of room to either tilt your car and park a certain way or do this way. It happened all the time there. It got to the point that's the only time at a fair where I was like, I really don't want to drive inside the fair right now and do work because it's a hassle. I have to go in there and I have to drive around vehicles that are blocking the lanes. And I even got into a little bit of that during one of my videos that I was showing you, but it's always vehicles sticking out. They're not pulling all the way up. They're not parking in decent areas to where you're not blocking the lane. There's plenty of parking to go, but yet they choose to go, oh, I'm just going to stick the tailgate of my truck out in the middle of this lane, and then you have to drive like all the way around trying to find. And then because that happened to me a couple of times, I had people blocking away. So one day I decided, this is the part I was going to tell you about, that I was like, oh, okay, well, there's this little nook that I seen this vendor use that when she would unload like stuff to her shop, and it was a road. It's a main roadway. People walk it. People drive the carts by it when you guys aren't looking and things like that. It's a constantly used road. It's part of the road. The vendor doesn't own it. But as I was pulling up through, the lady like yelled at me. It was like, you can't come through here. And I was like, hey man, they're blocking that lane. There's my tent right here. I need to get to my tent. And she screamed and yelled at me and called me a couple of names because I told her, I said, I'm going to my tent. I'm blocked off and I need to get to my tent. Go scream at them. They're the ones in the way. I wouldn't be coming this way next to your booth if they weren't blocking it. And I had to remind her, by the way, this is a public road. You don't own this. And so there was this little beef with her about that, and she never talked to me the whole season, which I didn't care. And she had like one worker that wouldn't talk to me, which I didn't care. And if anybody knows me at these fairs, I've never had conflict with anybody. So it's them. It definitely is them on this thing. So anyway, but that was creating a problem. That wasn't necessarily her fault. It was other people blocking the lanes with their trucks and their vehicles. And then where this got to be a problem, where I had to change days that I did work or went to go get my supplies, was on Mondays. They do this thing called the bazaar, where a lot of vendors will sell extra things to other vendors and vendor workers. So they'll set up little tables. Almost every fair does this, but most fairs have this out of the way to some degree to where people can come in and work on their booths. And so I learned real quick, it took me 2 weekends, I learned real quick coming in on Monday that all the cars are blocked, and my booth happens to be near to where they run the bazaar, and it's difficult to get in there to do work. You're blocked off and you can't really, complain to anybody, and it's like, you're like, man, I gotta get in here and do things, and these people are over here, getting high and shopping for items, and it's like, man, I gotta work, and all these cars are blocking the roads from getting in here. So my advice to that fair is for the workers and for the vendors. I would say, please keep people from sticking out in the main paths of roads so we can get to our booths and our tents and work. I know it's not just me there. Everybody had that complaint. They're like, yes, it's difficult to get in here because people don't honor it. That has nothing to do with the fair. I just wish the fair would crack down on those people and say, hey, you cannot do that anymore. Stop doing that. That's interfering with people doing work. So that was a big complaint. Also, I remember it was the second weekend, I think, and their parking is really bad for, it's kind of a free-for-all. So you just get lucky if you can get a parking spot behind the scenes for workers, which I think is really unorganized. I think that should be done better. It's not that you have to designate parking, but you have got to make sure, you got to have somebody out there to make sure that all these things that kept happening in these parking areas don't happen anymore. I literally came out, me and a lady, and then another girl came out. I got out there first and realized there was a person parked right behind my vehicle. And in front of my vehicle was a huge log that I can't drive over, nothing, I'm stuck. This person just parks in the middle of the path where everybody drives to park and didn't think anything of it. Not only that, it blocked in the truck next to me and blocked in the car next to me. So we're all three standing there going, what the hell? Luckily, they put names on these cards and we could call the person and be like, dude, you need to move your car. What are you thinking? And so it's not really well regulated in the parking area. That's my biggest complaint really about the fair, is the parking. I'm literally dreading that going back there next year unless they fix it. So, that's my biggest knock on that fair is the parking. I've never seen it so unorganized. I've heard some people, again, I'm not on this end of it, but I heard some people telling me in the camping area that the camping's kind of bad too. It's kind of, it's not very good, and people are right on top of each other. And so I don't know. That's on that end. I don't know it, so I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't know. But that's my biggest complaint was the parking. Other than that, that's why I give it 4 out of 5 stars instead of 5 stars. Is the parking was murder, and trying to get to your booth to work is murder when you've just got workers sitting around smoking cigarettes, doing nothing, and they're just parking. Instead of walking up into the area, they decide, oh, I'm going to take my truck from, 50 yards out and drive into the fair because I'm too lazy to walk up the hill. And that's the otthe thing. The hill's the toughest part. That's nobody's fault. But you will get exhausted going up and down the hill. So if you've never been to Sherwood, I recommend the zigzag effect. Do the zigzag. If you're going up the hill, do zigzag. Walk back and forth. Because going straight up that hill, a couple of times, it's not terribly bad, but it can be tiresome on days when you're pooped. So you don't want to do that multiple times a day. So anyway, that's really it, guys. That's my review of Sherwood Forest Faire 2025. I was so happy to see some of you guys out there. Again, I told you this before in the last video. It was an absolute pleasure meeting some of you guys. I appreciate the compliments, and I appreciate just the good words you tell me and keep encouraging me to do these videos. I met so many new faces because of these videos, and I hope to meet so many more. And I thank you guys so much. So please take a moment. If you haven't done this already, please like, please subscribe. This is how I build my channel. I'm hoping to get monetized one day, and I'm getting closer, guys, because you guys are getting me there. And please don't forget to tickle the bell for future notifications and comment, because I always comment back 100% of the time. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. That's my review for Sherwood Forest Faire 2025. I know it's nothing exciting, so the next video I'll think of something to do for you guys. Maybe we'll get out and get about and check out some things for you. So anyway, that's it. All right, till next video, guys. Sir Blasphemy, out.